Hi guys, this is Kimmy from the Bearded Library, and today we'll be making our DIY chocolate bars. So I decided I wanted to do mini chocolate bars just so you can have a couple different flavors and you can make fun different flavors for each little one. So let's get started and I'll show you what you should have gotten in your kit. So in your kit, I gave you a bag of chocolate chips. I gave you a little brown mold with 6 molds in it. I gave you some sprinkles, some caramel. I gave you some Oreos, mint Oreos, some pretzels, some graham crackers and marshmallows. And then when I called for you to pick up your kits, I asked if you guys were allergic to a peanut or anything. If not, I added almonds as well. So I'm gonna pull you guys down and show you how to get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is think about what flavors you want to use for your chocolate bars. So out of all the variety of things I gave you, you don't have to use all of them. If there's something you don't like, you don't have to use, give it to someone to eat. If you have leftovers of anything, please feel free to eat any of them too. So I'm going to explain what you should do and how to prep your extra items to put in your chocolate. So I just gave you simple sprinkles. You're just going to sprinkle those on if you want those. Same with the almonds. You can decide how many almonds you want to put in there. 1 or 2, you'll probably fit 2 about in there. And then the caramel, you'll need a spoon to spoon it in there. And then for the mint Oreos, I could put them in a bag, so you can just crush them right in the bag. So I would use either like a meat hammer or one of those wooden rollers or something you can kind of squish these with. And same with the pretzels. I put them in a baggie so you can squish the pretzels and put little pretzel pieces in. And then for these, this is kind of like a s'more inspired theme. I would take the marshmallows out first, put them on a separate plate, and then you can squish the graham crackers so you can sprinkle them on too. And then the marshmallows, you probably want to, you can leave them whole or you can cut them in half just so they fit a little bit better in there. So you can combine any flavors you want. If you want to do pretzels and caramel, you can mix them together, be creative, do what you want. They're your little chocolates. And then did provide you some little baggies and ties, so if you want to put them in there, you can, a little baggie for somebody or yourself, just to make them a little bit more presentable if you do give them to somebody for Valentine's Day. So I'm going to show you how to melt the chocolate and get started with that. Okay, so now we're going to get to melting our chocolate, and I already have mine melted already, but you are going to take your bag of chocolate chips and you're only going to pour half of your bag, because your batch should make about 2 molds of your chocolate, so you might have to come back to it later on because you only have 1 mold. So you'll be able to make about 12 chocolates out of it. So only use half a bag of your chocolate chips for the first round, and you can do it again. So you want to make sure you have a microwave safe bowl. So obviously a nice glass bowl will work out. Just be careful when you're using plastic and Tupperware because they can melt. So you're going to use a microwave safe bowl, a glass one, and then you're going to put it in the microwave for 30 seconds. You're going to do 30 seconds, take it out, stir it a little bit, maybe stir it for a couple seconds, put it back in for another 30 seconds, and that should do the trick. There might be some clumps in there, but just mix it for about a minute and it should melt. If it still is not melted after that, I would put it back in the microwave for about 15 more seconds to help melt the rest of that, and that should be enough after that. If it's not, I would put it in another 15 seconds and just do 15-second intervals, because you don't want to burn your chocolate if you do it too long. So do 2 30s, and then if it doesn't melt after 2 30-second ones, do 15 seconds and it should be good. So, and make sure you put it in the microwave safe bowl. Okay, so I'm going to show you on how to assemble and just show you how to pour them in there. Okay, so you're going to start putting your chocolate into your molds. You don't need to spray them down, they're silicone, so they should pop out pretty easily. So you're going to take your chocolate and you need a spoon for this. So I would just take a little bit of chocolate. I'd rather you do less and then fill in more than have an overflow. So you're just going to take a little bit of chocolate and you're just going to pour it right on there. and you're just going to fill in your mold. See, I need some more chocolate, so I'm going to go back in, get a little bit more. That's too much. You just need a little, these are very small squares, so you just need a little bit because you want to be able to fit your toppings in there. Okay. So once I put a little bit of the chocolate in there, I'm just going to smooth it out with my spoon to each corner. It's okay if it overflows a little bit, it will still come out. And you want to make sure you work pretty, not quickly, it's been about 5 minutes since I've melted my chocolate, but you shouldn't melt your chocolate and then wait about 30 minutes to start this because your chocolate will be hardened by then. So I just want to make sure I got each corner, and I'm just going to try to smooth it out a little bit with the spoon just to make the bottom look a little bit more smoother. And then that's when you can add a topping. So I will put some sprinkles. As you can see, I already put a little almond in there. Just make sure you compensate the chocolate for what item you're putting in there. So if you're putting an almond in there, the chocolate might spill out a little bit, which happened here, but that is okay. Put a little bit of sprinkles in this one. And then I'm gonna talk about the caramel real quick a little bit because I did one and it was a little tricky. So I got my sprinkles. So that one's all set. And so we're gonna do another caramel one, or caramel. So you could, since you're putting some chocolate, it's not liquid, but it kind of is. So since you're putting the caramel and the chocolate in there, they're both kind of runny and liquidy. So I would put less chocolate in a mold if you're doing caramel. So I'll show you a little bit. You just want to put a little bit of chocolate in there. Maybe enough just to barely cover the little squares that you see. And then just move the chocolate out to the 4 corners. So you want to get those little square shapes when your chocolate pops out. And that's when you can come in with your caramel with a separate spoon, and you can put it in there and kind of mix it in there. But when you use the caramel or caramel, you have to use less chocolate because then you're just putting it's going to overflow. This one right here was super overfilled. I had to scoop some out and it was a mess. So I would put less chocolate if you're using the caramel. And you just want to mix it. If you have a toothpick, that might be great to use to swirl the caramel in there. And then I'm just gonna flatten it a little bit. I got a little pink sprinkle in there from the sprinkles, but that's okay. And that's it. And then we'll do one more. And then if you want to have a second spoon with you besides the caramel spoon, actually, even a fork might be very helpful. You can use that to help you smooth out your chocolate. Make sure you get it in each of the corners so you get that square shape. It's okay if the back is messy. The front should be good, and that's okay. Once you have that in there, I think I'm gonna add a pretzel. I would crush them more, but there you go. You would crush them in the bag, but I don't want to crush a whole bag of pretzels just for one pretzel. And there you go. Like I said, feel free to eat the extra goodies you have. Okay, so your last step is to throw your chocolates into the freezer. I would do about 30 minutes. Mine didn't take that long to set, but I just want to make sure they're very solid and frozen and set. And I would say I would store these chocolates in the fridge instead of like on the counter or anything, just so you make sure they don't melt in your bags or anything, just because it's a different type of chocolates and everything. So that is it. So you're gonna pop those in there in the freezer for about 30 minutes. I already did that, so I'm just gonna pop mine right out. And you might have some extra chocolate on the side. If you don't like that, you could probably even just rip it off, or you could probably take a knife and cut it off a little bit. But either way, it's chocolate and it's delicious. It's gonna go in your belly, so you're just gonna pop out all those chocolates. And if you did caramel, I would make sure you touch it. The caramel might be a little sticky still. I would leave those in the freezer a little bit longer. And then these caramel ones are still sticky, so I'm going to put those back in the freezer. But just a warning for the caramel and caramel ones, they do need some more time to set. So that is it. That is the process of making your little candy bars. Like I said, you can rip off these little pieces of chocolate, or you could take a knife and cut them off as well. But I hope you enjoy these and making them and creating some fun flavors, and use them for Valentine's Day, or just make them so you can eat them yourself. But I hope you have a good day and enjoy your chocolate bars.